Hi everybody. So today I am quilting this scrappy quilt. All of these block patterns, the basket and the hearts and the T's and the stars are all on my blog. I've given those as free patterns away and now it's time to quilt this. So because I used scraps in this and it's very, very loud, I'm cleverly making a different scrap choice, which I've never made before. I'm stepping into an unknown territory. Normally, when I quilt something, I pick out a thread for the top and the bottom, and then I'm done. But on this quilt, I'm actually using up all my bobbin thread. We'll see how this turns out. I'm not convinced that it'll matter. Once it gets washed, the thread on the back probably won't even show. The backing fabric for this is 2 pieces. There is a mauve stripe and an apple black stripe, and it's really ugly. But the quilt itself, because it's so scrappy, I thought it's kind of homely, so why not use those? I'm using what I have, and both of these fabrics have been gifted to me, so my backing was free. So yay. Backings are expensive. So right now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you what I'm doing quilt wise on this. I'm first going to make a pass on the baskets and hearts, and I knew that I wanted to quilt a heart in the heart blocks, which is very easy, but I didn't know what I wanted to do in the basket block, so I just went ahead and stitched a heart on it. The bottom portion of this is the same shape as the heart portion. So right here, it is the same shape. Right here and right here are the very same shape. So it's very easy to just make a heart, make a line from this heart, go to the next heart, and do that all the way down, and then jump over to the next side and come down. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And then I'll also get into how I'm quilting the Tesselating tees and the friendship stars, as well as the 16 patches. So I'm going to show you that next. In the heart blocks, it looks fantastic. In the basket blocks, it still looks like a heart, but it's quilted and it's not really gonna show. I wanted the baskets to show, so I didn't want the quilting to interfere with it. But that's just a little pass. And you know, the great thing about hearts, they don't have to be perfect. A heart is a heart. So the next block I'm doing is the friendship star. I've already done this one halfway. Basically, I take a ruler and I place it in the corner and I approximate where my center is across from it. Originally, I was going to make a star, but then I decided not to. I decided to change it up. So basically, you start here, you work your way to the middle all the way on the block, and you come back down to the corner. And then I use my arc ruler and I make like this Star Trek symbol. But I come back and I do it opposite too, and that's what I'm going to show next. So I know this is my center because this is the center of this block. So I'm gonna just position my ruler and make it go that direction. And then again. And then my arc. And there you have this interesting looking, I don't know, geometric design. I didn't want to over quilt this quilt. When you quilt something to death, it is beautiful on the front, but I do not like the texture of the quilt whenever it is quilted like that. So I have quilted things to death, and when you wash them, it plays with the warp and the stretch of the fabric. So if I were to quilt a portion of this to death, it will pull and stretch the fabric and not be cohesive with the fabric anymore because you've added so much thread. I don't like doing that. I guess it's a new phase I'm going through where I want to be a minimalist and I want to quilt this minimally with the greatest impact. And quilting things to death, you can't use those quilts. You quilt the warmth right out of them because you compress the loft of the batting so flat. So when you are watching those videos of people doing that, they're probably making a show quilt or something that's not going to be used, like a wall hanging, and that is perfectly fine. Also, I do not like over quilting things because it plays with the drape if you are going to hang it on the wall. I don't like that at all. And again, you can have a perfectly true square block that you're putting up on the wall, but when you quilt it to death, you distort it so much, it's no longer square. So I'm trying to get away from that. So this is what I'm quilting on the stars, and as I advance the quilt, I will then show you what I'm doing on the 16 patch, and then I'm doing a serpentine feather in the tees, and I'm doing it very loosely. I'm not doing anything fancy, and I'm enhancing each border of this medallion quilt differently, which I think does it justice. Okay, so here I am at this last border. I'm going to go ahead and quilt this all the way down. Basically, I'm just going point to point on the grid of the 16 patch. And I will just quilt this all the way down. And now I'm going to travel back. I've quilted a few quilts with the grid and it washes up and puffs up so nicely. that I would love to do every quilt like that. However, it's not feasible time-wise. So this time I'm skipping around and doing it this way. This is halfway done, and then I'll come back and travel down and do the other side. Okay, so now I'm basically going to do a zigzag down the quilt. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to zigzag all the way down, and then I will come back with this, provided I don't run out of thread. Thread broke. Okay, my thread seems to be breaking as I travel that way on the quilt. I figure it is the crappy fabric. It's broadcloth on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here and then come back and do the motif. And then I will start back at the other end. Okay, I have traveled all the way down. For safety reasons, I'm not going to show this to you because I'm having to work the angle of the camera versus the angle of me at the long arm. And my ruler just had slipped, and I did not want to crash myself or my machine. So, but basically that's the shape. It kind of looks like the Star Trek emblem. And then I'm going to travel back doing the same thing where I make the triangle and the hump. So this last border is the Tesselating tees, and I knew that I could not do a geometric pattern on this, so I had to do just totally free form because the end would end with a partial tee. So let me walk down here. It's the same way down here. I have a full tee, but I also have a partial tee. So to eliminate any problems with that, I'm doing a feather meander. Say a feather meander. It's a feather. I'll come in and I'll swoop, and I'll just gently swoop all the way down.